Good morning and welcome to Live Without Limits. Unlock your potential. Ultimate blueprint to transform and shift your mindset. The podcast where we empower you to unlock your potential and transform your mindset. I'm your host, David Shinsky, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to self growth, self discovery, and personal success. So, in today's episode, Unlocking Your Potential, how personality tests can improve your life, we're diving into the fascinating world of personality tests. Have you ever wondered why you're drawn to certain people, careers, or hobbies? Or why you respond to challenges differently than others? Understanding your personality can provide life changing insights to help you grow, connect, and thrive. From the popular tests like the Myers Briggs type indicator or the MBTI, as it's commonly known, to the Enneagram that the Big Five will explore how these tools work with and the renewal of you, and most importantly, how you can use them to enhance your personal and professional life. So grab a notebook, settle in, and let's unlock the blueprint to understanding yourself on a deeper level. You won't want to miss this, and let's dive in. Now, the Myers Briggs is very much a personality test used by psychologists and psychotherapists because the terminology is very difficult for a layman to understand. But if you've taken the disc, which is the dominant, interpersonal steadiness, conscientiousness, behavior types, it's usually administered by people who work with the company that publishes it as distributors, and they're trained in how to administer it, and it's often easy for the layman to understand how to use it and how it applies. But there's many others. There's the colors test, but they all are very similar. Therefore, let's look first at the MBTI, the self-awareness. Understand your natural preferences, introversion versus extroversion, and structure your day accordingly. For example, if you're an introverted, plan quiet time to recharge. Decision making. Use your strengths, such as thinking or logical decisions, or feeling, for empathetic ones to guide choices. Relationships. Recognize differences in how others process information or express themselves to reduce misunderstandings. And these are often the careers that align with your type. INTJs excel in strategic planning, while ESFPs thrive in social dynamic environments. When you understand where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and you take them and apply them into a job where that position requires someone with your strengths, then you're more likely to succeed than if you try to do something that you're not comfortable in. And when we get to the disc, I can get into more details because that is what I trained in how to use it and can actually tell you how to apply it into your daily life. The big five personality traits: ocean model, application, stress management. If you're high in neuroticism, practice mindfulness or journaling to handle stress better. Goal setting, use conscientiousness to plan and stay organized. If you're low in this trait, implement productivity systems, to-do lists, and time blocking. Relationships, high agreeableness can foster harmony, while low agreeableness might require active empathy exercises. Creativity, high openness helps with innovation. Explore hobbies like art or writing to unleash creative potential. Enneagram application, self-growth. Understand your type's core motivations and fears. For example, if you're a type 3, which is an achiever, focus on finding value in yourself beyond accomplishments. Emotional triggers, recognize patterns of stress or unhealthy behavior and develop strategies to interrupt them. Relationships, learn how your type interacts with others. If you're a type 9, which is a peacemaker, set boundaries to prevent over accommodations. Workplace, use your strengths, creativity for type 4 or leadership for type 8 to excel in your role. Now, before I get into the disc, what I want to also do is say this, that often we have all these different behavior types within us, but some of our strengths, some of our weaknesses, and often, we need to, as we mature, as we learn how to move from one pattern to the other, that which is a better way to communicate with someone in a way that it creates or it deals with the conflicts. Because now let's get into the disc and then I can explain it better. Application, leadership. If you're high in dominance, focus on delegating tasks instead of micromanaging. Teamwork, adapt communication styles based on team members. Disc profiles. For example, use data for conscientiousness types and stories for influencing types. Conflict resolution, understanding why conflicts arise. A steady type, avoiding confrontation, and tailor your approach accordingly. Productivity, create workflows that match your style, such as a structured plans for conscientious types or flexible dynamic environments for influencing types. Now, let's get into what we're talking about with dominance. A dominant personality type is someone who literally believes they can control everything, and they're very outgoing. And if they don't control you or how you do things, they are going to force you into going along with them. The I personality is the individual that has very good interpersonal skills. They can talk to strangers. They can make friends easily. They can do business at a party. The S, or the steadiness personality, that's the person who's the peacemaker. They don't want to create any conflicts, and they can often diffuse a conflict situation. Now, the D and the I are very outgoing, but they can create conflicts between each other in situations because of their want and need to control. Then you've got the conscientiousness behavior, and that's the individual who's going to question everything before they make a decision. Think about that little child who's just learning. What do? Why? Why? Because they want to learn and they want to know. And we have all of these behavior types within us. The idea is, how do we move out of our comfort zone and move into a different behavior pattern and take better control over what we do and how we do it. Strength Finder, the Clifton Strengths, work performance. Focus on tasks that leverage your strengths. Communication for speaking roles, or analytical thinking for data-driven projects. Collaboration, partner with others whose strengths complement yours. If you're a strategic, work with someone's strong in execution. Even when you look at the DISC, let me also tell you that they also have a profile called for teamwork that's called CARE, Creator, Advancer, Refiner, Enforcer. And then you've got a fifth one is the facilitator, because the facilitator needs to know that the creator can come up with the idea, but they don't know how to implement it. The advancer has to look at it and refine it. Then if he feels it needs to go back to the creator, he can send it back, or he can send it to the refiner, and the refiner refines it even more. And then it goes to the enforcer who actually implements it. Now that facilitator works across all behavior patterns and facilitates where everything needs to go. So as you see, this is how assessment profiles can really benefit us, that when we understand them, when we understand how they apply to different behavior patterns, then we can understand exactly why things happen. And often, this is a real neat thing, and I do come out of the DISC because that's what I was using in the workplace when I went in and did train the trainer sessions. And the way it all is if you look at it, that when you're communicating with someone in the workplace, but understanding their behavior pattern, you need to adapt how you communicate so that you can communicate in language that they literally understand. And if you don't, then what's going to happen is that it's going to create conflict. And let me go even further and explain it this way. Why does a family work in unison? Because each person expects the other person to react a certain way. And if one of those people change and do not respond a certain way, then there's going to create conflict. Now, if you got someone that's a high D and a high I, and yes, as a child, that person will comply with you, but as they get older, as they take more control over their lives, there's going to be conflict. Therefore, often that person works well with someone who's a total opposite. And the best way to say is, you got someone that has strong interpersonal skills and they're in conflict, they're often ready to create and go forward and and further the argument. But if you've got someone that has that steadiness behavior pattern that avoids conflict, they can help you calm down. They can also help you understand how to communicate better and in ways and give you the support that you need. And often it's unless you find someone that really fits it so that you work well together, then what's going to happen is you're going to find more conflicts. But remember this, because we're dealing with real personalities, just because you're two total opposites doesn't mean you're not ever going to have conflict, because things happen. We're dealing with real people and real personalities. All the personality test can show you is where you fit into your life and your behavior pattern, and how your strengths help you get where you want to be, how to adapt your weaknesses, or how to find someone who has strengths in areas where you're weak. Therefore, by the two of you working together, it helps you to build a strong, goal-oriented, successful life in the long run. Strength Finder, Clifton Strengths, application, work performance. Focus on tasks that leverage your strengths, communication for speaking, roles, or analytical thinking for data-driven projects. Collaboration, partner with others whose strengths complement yours. If you're a strategic thinker, work with someone who is strong in execution, personal fulfillment. Engage in hobbies or activities that align with your top strengths to stay motivated. Leadership. Use your strengths to inspire and gain others' affections. 16 personality tests. Now, in all of these assessment profiles, there's like 4 pure, and when you take an interchangeable, the 4 pure, you come up with 16 personalities. So the application, daily habits, align your routines with your personality type. For example, judging types benefit from structured schedules, while perceiving types thrive with flexibility. Communication. Understand how others perceive your communication style and adjust for clarity. And that's what I was saying when I was getting into talking about the DISC and how you adapt your communication style when talking to someone in a different communication style. Conflict resolution. Learn how to approach conflicts based on your type. For instance, thinking types can focus on empathy, while feeling types can practice assertiveness. Relationships. Foster deeper connections by understanding your partners and friends' types. When you understand different people's behavior types, it helps you to understand them better. It also helps you to deal with them and learn to adapt in how you communicate with them. Emotional intelligence or EQ tests. Application. Emotional regulation. Practice mindfulness or deep breathing or manage emotional reactions. Empathy. Use active listening techniques to connect with others and build stronger relationships. Conflict management. Recognize and address emotional triggers in disagreements. Leadership. Develop interpersonal skills to inspire and guide teams effectively. The Hogan Personality Inventory, or the HPI. Career growth. Identify areas to focus on for professional development, such as improving leadership traits or managing stress under pressure. Leadership. Build on natural leadership traits to manage teams more effectively. Workplace dynamics. Understand how your personality affects collaboration and adjust your approach to improve teamwork. Kiersey, temperamental starter. Decision making. Tailor decisions to match your temperament. Idealists focus on values, while guardians prioritize stability. Career choice. Select jobs that align with your natural inclination. Relationships. Understand how your temperament influences interactions and adjust for better compatibility. Problem solving. Utilize your unique strengths, such as rationals, logic of artisans, creativity, for innovative solutions. The four tendencies. Habit formation. Create strategies tailored to your tendency. For example, obligers thrive with accountability partners, while questioners need logical reasons for their goals. Motivation. Identify what drives you to action and remove barriers to success. Communication. Adapt how you frame requests to align with others' tendencies. Now, I'm going to get into some other things, but I want to back up a little bit and talk about when we're talking about the DIS and C. And I can say this, the person with the steadiness personality, that person is very much an introvert, and they often like to be in the background. Their comfort zone is to push someone else in front and let them do all the talking, because they do not feel comfortable being the center of attention. Therefore, they may not be the natural leaders. They can be if they're willing to get out of their comfort zone. But if that's not their natural behavior pattern, as they get older, they'll come out of it more. But their natural behavior pattern is to actually go with someone who's got very strong interpersonal skills, simply because they they work together as a team, and they support each other's needs, and it really works to their advantage to work together as a team to reach a goal that both of them want. So how to choose the right test for your needs. Or rather, let's back up a little bit. We're talking about practical ways to use personality tests to improve your life. While these tests are powerful tools, it's important to approach wisely and with intention. So let's dive into how you can choose the right test, interpret your results, and apply the insights to daily life and avoid common pitfalls. With so many personality tests out there, how do you pick the right one? Start by asking yourself what you hope to gain. If you're looking to better understand your workplace behavior or career preferences, tools like the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator or Big Five might be the greatest fit for personal growth and self-awareness. The Enneagram is excellent. It focuses on core motivations and patterns for development. If you want to assess your interact with others in teams, look at the DISC assessments or Clifton Strengths could be helpful. And the DISC is something that now you've got Target Training that offers this. Then you also have Wiley Publishing that offers partnership to people who have used DISC because it's been sold many times. It was originally, now the DISC came out of John Geyer and Associates, which eventually changed their name to Performax. Performax was bought out and merged with a company called Personal Dynamics Institute and bought by Carlson Companies. And then eventually they broke away and became Inscape Publishing before they were bought out by Wiley Publishing. So understanding how certain different types of assessment profiles. And if you understand that many, like the Clifton Strengths, are often given by psychiatrists and psychologists, and the DISC is often given by people who have a background in psychology or social work and understand behaviors, but are looking to work with corporations and companies to come in and do train the trainer. That's where the DISC and the colors profile has often been the most popular. So consider the credibility of the test. Look for assessments backed by research or widely used in psychology and professional settings. Free online quizzes can be fun, but if you're serious about gaining insights, invest in a reliable test with detailed reports. So how to interpret your results effectively. And that's where the DISC and the colors are often more popular used within corporations because they're more easily applied and used in the because they're easily understood and explained in language that the common man understands. So once you've taken a personality test, it's time to make sense of the results. And this is where many people go wrong. They either overanalyze every detail or dismiss the results entirely. The key is to approach your results with curiosity, not judgments. First, look for patterns where stands out to you. Does it resonate with your experiences? Focus on the big picture. These tests are not about boxing you into a label, but about providing insights into your tendencies, your preferences, and your potential growth areas. Reflect on how these traits show up in your life. For example, if the Enneagram identifies you as a type 3, the achiever, you might recognize your drive for success, but also your tendency to your worth to accomplishments. This awareness is invaluable for growth, applying what you learn to your everyday situation. Now comes the fun part, applying what you've learned. Personality tests are more valuable when they help you navigate real life situations. And here are some examples. Decision making. If your tests reveal that you're high analytical, lean into that strength when making big decisions. But if you tend to overthink, Set a deadline to move forward. And what happens is the overthinker, and especially in the conscientious behavior pattern, they question everything to the point that they don't make a decision. So the thing is, you need to have a cutoff point to say, I'm going to ask and get the answers by such and such a time and make a decision. And often, when we look at different people in different situations, and I guess I can say, if you look at the president, probably Barack Obama was considered a high C behavior pattern, where he was not going to be make decisions, but quickly. But what he needed to do as president was do his early research and then sit down with a group of people and his team and each come up with their point of view, and then from all of that make his final decision. And whether it's the president or whether it's a leader within a company or whether it's someone that has their own business, these are different things that are important in how you relate to making decisions in different situations. Communication, knowing your communication style and recognizing others can resolve misunderstandings. If you're a direct communicator and your colleague is more reserved, you can adjust your tone to create a more comfortable dialogue. Conflict resolution. If your results highlight a tendency to avoid conflict, practice assertiveness techniques. Conversely, if you're naturally confrontational, focus on active listening to foster collaboration, setting goals. Use your insights to create personalized goals. If you're detail-oriented, break your goals into actionable steps. If you're a big picture thinker, tie your goals to a larger vision to stay motivated. Caution against over-reliance or using tests or labels. While personality tests can be incredibly insightful, they are just one tool in your personal growth toolbox. Avoid over-reliance. Don't let your results define you. People are dynamic and constantly evolving. Your personality type is a snapshot, not a fixed destiny. Resist labels. It's easy to fall into the trap of saying, I can't do that because I'm an introvert, or I'm just bad at teamwork because I'm an independent. Personality tests are meant to expand your understanding, not your limits or your potential. And what I want to say about that is this: certain things are our strengths, and those strengths help us to understand where we are best suited. But what people don't often recognize is that your weaknesses, you can bring forth your weaknesses, but it's not your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is to work with your strengths. That's why in a team, having someone that's totally the opposite works for you. But when someone like that is not available, then you have to figure out how to move out of your comfort zone and to pull forth those behaviors that you have that can really put you in that situation where you can interact with someone from that point of view. That's why when you're communicating with someone, understanding their strengths helps you bring forth that behavior pattern within yourself to communicate with them better. So use your results as a starting point, not the final answer. The true value of personality tests lies in how you use them to become more self-aware, adaptable, and intentional in your actions. As we wrap up today's episode of Live Without Limits, let's take a moment to recap what we've covered. First, we discussed how personality tests can enhance self-awareness, helping you uncover your strengths, recognize your weaknesses, and better understand your preferences. This self-knowledge is the foundation of personal growth and success. We explored how these insights can improve relationships, whether it's at home, at work, or in your social circles. But understanding how you interact with others and how they perceive you, you can build stronger connections and communicate more effectively. We touched on the role of personality tests in personal and professional growth, from setting authentic goals to choosing a career path that aligns with your personality. These tools can provide invaluable guidance to help you live without limits. If you have already, okay, if you haven't already, I encourage you to take a personality test and reflect on the results. Approach it with curiosity and an open mind. Remember, it's not about putting yourself in a box. It's about unlocking a deeper understanding of who you are and how you can grow. Even if the results don't resonate at first, take time to observe patterns in your behavior and consider how these insights can apply to your life. The journey of self-discovery is a continuous one, and personality tests are just one tool to guide you along the way. And understanding exactly where you come from and why and how you relate to each other and how to adapt your behavior and how to actually, as a parent, it can help you, because when you understand your child's behavior pattern, then what you're doing is you're helping them to understand where their strengths lie, where their weaknesses lie, how to adapt their behavior. And this is one of the best ways to understand how to utilize personality tests, especially in communication within the family.